the fuck is going on? How's it going, guys? My name is COVERKILLER, and I'm listening right now through Silver and Blood by Neurosis. It's the album review I'm actually doing right now, and it's a little haunting. It's definitely going to need the spectacles for this one. It's a little crazy. This is an album actually that was requested by a couple of users, and one user that I've had interaction with actually told me that this was just an absolutely haunting album. It was one of those albums that he kind of lost sleep over. He couldn't sleep well at night after listening to it, not because it's a bad album or anything like that, but because of its power, because of the way that it's done, the way that Neurosis is really able to capture a mood and really make these soundscapes just absolutely kind of stay in your mind and remain there, almost like a drug. However, I'm not him, so I have to do my own take on this, my own review, and that's exactly what I'm doing. This is a 9-track affair. It clocks in at 70 minutes and 34 seconds. It's a very, very lengthy album. This was released in the mid-1990s, and I have to say that for the mid-1990s, this is definitely a landmark release, especially whenever you consider what's going on today in the music scene, where you see a lot of bands that are kind of attempting this post-progressive, post-rock, post-whatever sound, and here Neurosis is kind of taking their take on what some people would call hardcore, what some people would call doom, what some people would call metal, and kind of molded it together, threw it all in one big pot and created a stew of just acid stoner, metal post-rock that really just is based 100% on atmosphere. It's based upon what you're feeling whenever you listen to it. It's based upon all of that. But at any rate, the track listing is as follows. You have Through Silver and Blood, which is an epic 12-minute starter, and it really kind of lets you know exactly what this album's going to be like. It's very haunting, and it really captures that particular feeling inside of you right away. Rehumanize is track number 2. It's a short little transition into track 3, which is I. Track 4 is Purify. The track you're listening to right now is track number 5, Locust Star. This is a song I can't get out of my head. It's haunting me like a drug. Track number 6 is Strength of Fates. Become the Ocean is track number 7, which is a nice little introduction into Aeon. Aeon, should I say. And then track number 9, the finale, is Enclosure and Flame, and that's a crazy, crazy song. Aeon and Enclosure and Flame are two songs that when put back to back and played together are just an absolute haunting / aggressive mix of absolute atmosphere. Now, I remember being in a band whenever I was in college, and the one thing I always used to stress to them is how important atmosphere was. Neurosis is what happens whenever the entire band and the entire breadth of the music is based off of atmosphere, where they're really trying to create a mood through the music in which they're producing and trying to show the anguish through the vocals. You can hear the harsh vocals in the background. The vocals are very anguished, very, very growly. Something that if I tried after one song, my throat would be raw and I would be spitting up blood. It's amazing that these guys are able to do this. You take a look at the death metal guys and the people that do it nowadays, and it's become so common. But back then, this was just whenever this stuff was really starting to take off, and this was a new and inventive take on it. So it was definitely a landmark and important release for this particular genre. It really helped launch it. Bands out there such as ISIS would not be around today. There's a very good chance that other bands that are purely instrumental, such as Explosions in the Sky, may not be around today. There wouldn't be any real desire to explore, or if there was, it just wouldn't seem to have something to look up to, a hailing point, something to bow down and praise to and really strive to achieve to be. Neurosis really kind of took that particular turn on this album. They made something that was beautiful and haunting, but mostly stuck to haunting. They wanted something that was going to be accessible to all ears, however, something that was going to cause them to think, something that would cause their ears to kind of brood together and wonder what exactly it is that is going on with this music. Something that would keep you coming back, not simply based upon being good, but also because it is very thought-provoking. This is what I would call some thinking man's music right here. Even though there is a lot of aggression, there is a lot of anguish. You're not taking a look at heavy progressive riffs that require you to count on fingers and toes to realize what they're doing. What you have here is just simple, sludgy, but brutal all at the same time. I'm going to tell you guys a little story, and you're actually going to peer into my life a little bit. Whenever I was listening to this for the third time earlier this evening, I was extremely out of my own mind. I will tell you that. And I was laying down on the couch that is now famous from videos such as these, and also from the Delinquents Wrestling Network, which is also here on YouTube. And I could see myself drifting away, trying to sleep, trying to do something like that, and I could sort of see these images in my head. And it was one part because of the high, but it's also a second part because the feeling and the mood that this music really gives you, the way that it really, kind of, it's a funny little metaphor, but mind molestation. It kind of molests your mind and kind of conjures up these images, and you almost kind of see the creativity and the hauntingness of this. It sort of comes and becomes apparent to you. It is revealed to you through this. And like I said, that's probably one part based upon the high, but the user that said, try sleeping at night after listening to this album, I have not yet slept. I did not get a chance to sleep while I was doing this. These were all images that were coming to me while I was still consciously awake. So it's going to be interesting tonight. There's definitely going to be a lot that I'm going to probably see and feel after listening to this album now for a fourth time, and now doing this review. As far as giving it a score, it's a very difficult thing for me to do, simply because the way that this music hits you, yes, sometimes being in an altered state does make a difference. This is definitely something that you would consider to be altered state music, where you can really feel and hear the different layers, where it all becomes sort of exposed to you. And sometimes with some people, they'll enjoy it more that way. Maybe if they're not high, they don't like it. But this is a particular album that even when sober and straight, you can kind of really understand what's going on. You can understand the bleeding of the guitars. You can understand the hoarseness of his mouth after these vocals are being portrayed. The atmosphere and the mood molds together perfectly. It's a very, very tight-knit little box that they were able to create, and they weaved it together almost like an Indian would weave a basket. It's a very, very cool album. It's one that I'm definitely going to be spinning a lot in the future. This is one I didn't previously have in my collection, so thank you to the man who requested this album. I'm going to have to give it an 8.5 out of 10. And I'll be honest with you guys, I don't know if I'm sleeping tonight. I don't know. I'll talk to you guys hopefully tomorrow. I really hope I do.